Are we live? Yes, we are. Let me just send out the link. And I'm going to send out. On X. And I'm sure there's going to be people who want to join in. But let me actually, first off, let me get to my bookmarks. I know that there's no one in so far, but here we go. People, and I'm just going to check YouTube again. So we're live today. It is, and let's see. Should I do it like how Rap does it, or should I do it how they do it on how Geeks and Gamers does it? Maybe I should do that at some point. Maybe do a poll, but we are live, people. I'm live. I know there's no one in. Yeah. Why am I? Darn it! I skipped. All right. Here. So, real political there. Yeah, you might know him as Real American Politics on YouTube, and I'm just gonna make sure this is working. Yes, I think it's working. Hang on. Yep, I think the microphone. Here's the microphone, actually. But let's move it like this, and that looks better. So I saw this just before I took a shower a couple minutes ago. Real American sent out this tweet. It was like over an hour ago as of this point that he sent this. So we're just going to talk. So stuff the Trump administration and Republicans in Congress have fumbled on. And I like him, and I agree with him at most points. In fact, thinking about, I agree with him on a lot of this. Maybe there's some stuff I'd have to do some digging into, but Epstein file thing. So he said stuff the Trump administration, Republicans in Congress have fumbled on. Epstein files, binders were dumb. One of the dumbest things he could ever do. Let's see. Mass deportation. We should be getting back to daily numbers and seeing thousands each day at this point. Also, sort of agree. I think we should get those counters up, the daily numbers, like how in the first few weeks of the Trump presidency they would post them. Gotta start doing that again. None of Trump's orders codified. All these lawfare. I mean, I understand they're really trying to follow the judges, but come on, you can't do this with every order. Like with the one where they were ordering the planes to fly back, they should just use that as the basis. Do not follow any more of these orders. Not constantly talking about how inflation, egg prices, etc., are going way down. Same thing with high-paying jobs come back to America. On the inflation and egg prices, I have seen some Trump administration affiliated accounts tweet about it or post about it. But I think a lot of it also comes from a lot of influencers who may or may not be being paid, but some of the Doge messaging has been retired. I have to look more into that. I mean, I'm sure people could send me stuff coming Congress has not done anything about the courts. Yes, they have not done anything about. They should. Not putting a bigger focus on how radical and extreme Democrats have become. I think people can see for themselves. All disagree. People can see for themselves and make up their own mind. The Trump administration does not need to do that. They don't need to do that at all. And Sabatini, Dan, who both of them run, I'll plug them in I'll plug them in at some point. He runs data for, it's like some sort of America First Insight. That's what it is. So once I'm done with this, I'll plug them in. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but I just think that you should, because they talk about all the time, Rap talks about on his streams. I'm not looking to be in with that. I mean, maybe. Yeah, I'm already on the Carbo spaces, the nightly Carbo and Night Source spaces. I'm already on those. It would be nice, but it probably won't happen for a while because I'm busy with school, which is why I haven't really been posting a lot. So let's go over what Sabatini is saying. So agreed, he agrees with this, agree with that. Not happening with Lawler, Bacon, and Massey being the deciding majority. They do, but Americans have a different idea of what inflation going down means. That is also kind of true because a lot of Americans are not very educated on how this stuff works. Part of the reason why we got rid of the Department of Education, because we probably should be fixing the curriculum, and the Department of Education was destroying it. Let's see. And some of the Doge, I mean, I guess never happened. Congress has done nothing about the court. Not happening ever. Nothing ever happens. And yeah, it's not campaign season. He's in office. His job is not to really act like he's campaigning. I mean, he does. It's Trump. You know he's going to act like that, but it's not. Trump. What Trump really needs to do is, and you see, Dark MAGA, go follow all of these accounts. Real Political Data, Sabatini Stand, and Dark MAGA. And while I'm on it, I'm going to go in and let me stop sharing. First Insight. Yes. So I'm going to share my screen again. And so this is America First Insight, which in politics. So let me actually give a real political data. Who run? Let me actually run. And I think that America First Insight, because remember in 2024, and in pre-election, we've had all this mainstream polling, and it's trash. It's trash. Of course, America First Insight, they're going to have a bit of a right-wing leaning to it, but I mean, most of the polls have a left-wing bias, so what's the big problem? I don't see what the big problem is. So I just shared it. Let me actually see if I can get. And this is also my account. If you want, you can go follow. I'm going to not. Yes, I'm just going to repost it just so it gets more engagement. But there's a lot going on. The most recent, I think, one of the big developments recently is the F-45 fighter, and PR actually. I just saw that this. I'm not sure who this guy is, but he wrote, I think it would be hilarious if the Dark Star from Top Gun was the actual F-45. Perfect case of hindsight of hiding in plain sight. And he's talking about the new 6th generation fighter that and Tom Cruise. I think this is this is very good looking. And people are like, oh, the Chinese, they have all the most advanced stuff in the world. It's like, come on. We're back. Look, we are back. We know how to use this stuff. So, and it just gives the U.S. Air Force just gives you a bunch of fighters from previous years, which is nice. But, and I was thinking about having some people on, some Canadian followers of mine. I was thinking about having them on, but unfortunately, a lot of them have stuff going on today, and I'm not sure about this. Let's look up the Canadian elections because there's the biggest talk about it. And apparently we've got Polling Canada. I'm not got a tweet from 3 hours ago. Tomorrow Parliament will be dissolved and an election will be held on April 28th. So looks like April 28th is going to be when the elections are held. Interesting. And Luke J. Gagnon, who is very good, he's been promoting. That's something else. Wisconsin, they've got the Wisconsin Supreme Court election. If you're in Wisconsin, vote for Brad Schimmel. I think he was recently endorsed by Donald Trump. So that's something I'd recommend you do if you're in Wisconsin, because if the liberal juror gets in, then it will not be good. It's not going to be good if she gets in. I forgot what her name is. Feel stupid. Let me bookmark this. I can just check Luke's account. Oh, bruh. I'm actually going to find it. Where is it? Brad Schimmel. Susan Crawford, who, according to the America account, which was set up, I think, by an Elon Musk or an affiliate of Musk, actually, after the election. Wisconsin Judge Susan Crawford on sentencing a repeat kitty deal, who I've got to be careful, who assaulted a 7-year-old girl to only 4 years in prison. What? I don't regret that sentence. Don't put her on. yeah, do not put her. If you're going to vote for a judge who only gave 4 years to a child abuser who probably deserves much longer, I'm just going to be clear, much longer, than you deserve what you get if you vote for her. Please vote for Brad Schimmel. We've got to get these numbers up. Christian Hines has been talking about the numbers, how early voting is not good, but I guess we've really got to get that message out there. I might do a couple more videos in the 8 days we have left until that race on April 1st. And you got Musk and Trump actually promoting it. Hey, you've got to just get out there and vote. Vote Wisconsin. And any people who are from Wisconsin and watching the after feed, go and vote. So, yeah. And we're going to get back to the Canadian one because that's why the original intent of this was. That's one of the things that we were talking about. Honestly, should I talk? Let me just see. Let me actually get the loop because it was from a couple days ago, but so for people screaming about the Canadian election, these were the polls in 1984 after Trudeau's father stepped down as Liberal leader and the actual election results. So we can see these are the polling firms. They were polling the Canadian Conservative Party at 30, consistently finding them at 39%, while the Liberals were they were pulled at 49, 48, 49, and the NDP were around like 11 or 10%. And the actual results showed the Conservatives winning, but I've talked with some guy. If any of you have listened to the Carbo streams, I just want to check to see if the audio is still good. We're still good. All right. If anyone is familiar with the Carbo streams that I'm just checking to make. Yeah, the audio is good. If anyone's familiar with some guy, he's Canadian, and let me see if I can get him up. Here. I've had conversation. He follows me. Go follow him if you can. Let me see. I don't know but let's see if I can find one of his tweets. A lot of these are from like a couple days. So this was him saying, I think Carney is the favorite, but he hasn't got locked up at this point. If only Trump had waited till the election, or if this was about genuine concerns, gone about differently. So he's thinking that Trump, how Trump's been posturing and how the Conservatives, which they saw terribly, Pierre Poilievre has responded terribly. Now, some of that's on Trump part, but also it's also on a lot of these Canadian leaders part is that all you have to do is not respond because he's baiting you. That's how Trump works. He's baiting you into responding. And Carney he's been propping himself up. He's trying to prop himself at this strong leader who's going to take on Trump. And you've been seeing him talk about Canada's identity. Let me actually find that as well. Yeah, let's see, because he was talking at some point about how Canada's identity as in England as European. And this is actually interesting because he's been meeting with a lot. This is what he had said a couple days on the 17th when he was in France with
sovereignty. And we both stand for sovereignty and security, demonstrated by our unwavering support for Ukraine under your leadership. With you, Mr. President, I want to ensure that France and the whole of Europe works enthusiastically with Canada, the most European of non-European countries, determined like you to maintain the most positive possible relations with the United States. Canada is a reliable, trustworthy, and strong partner of France, which shares our values and lives them through action during this age of economic and geopolitical crises.
So you see that he's trying to position himself more towards Brussels rather than towards Washington. And Canada pretty much has its two choices. It can either become closer with the United States, maybe not be fully annexed or become a state, but it's going to be much closer to America, which Canada should be. It's got Canadians and Americans speak the same language. We've got the same heritage with each other for a lot of the time, where a lot of people actually confuse Canadians for American, and we're essentially two peoples. That's probably why Trump has been all about annexation. Is it going to happen? Probably not. Do I want it? Probably don't really want it. You'd have to cut out some of the pork. I know we've heard some of the more based provinces like Alberta have considered it. Their premier has thought about joining the United States. I mean, that would be interesting. Problem is that a Canadian conservative is much closer to a Bush era Republican rather than the MAGA, and that's why I've been hearing a lot of people say so. But I think Canada would be much better off, and the other choice Canada has is it can align itself more with Brussels. Now, why? Join the European Union. Let me actually get because there was a post I had found No, let me see. Because I've been very harping on the E. I think that America's. Let me see. Where is that post? Because there's a post there. This is someone's. Perhaps they posted their fan where Europe is pretty much a federation. This is probably someone whoever made this probably just got into geopolitics. I know because 10 years ago when I started getting into geopolitics, history, and all that, I would probably, if I were still in that, had that mindset as I did when I first got into it, I would have thought of this. But this is why Greenland is important, because Greenland would essentially kind of block Europe from Canada, and we'd fully surround it. Canada used to be a single neighbor nation of the United States, so it only had one border, but it has a border here on island with Denmark. They kept swapping it for years. It was like a little game, but then they decided to just create a line in the middle of the island, and pretty much it's like a really small island. And actually, let me actually find it. Hans Island. All right, and it's located in the Kennedy Channel. That channel's named after a U.S. president. Why are there Are the Canadian and the Danes in control? That should be American property. Let me actually bookmark this for further use. And let's see. Let me actually put in the channel. So it's kind of a funny story if you do the research, if you look into it, but it's American territory. It's rightful American territory. Once we get Greenland and once we get Canada, we're gonna get this. As I know, I just said I was against annexing Canada, but manifest destiny, I guess. We'll just make them a territory, and the only provinces that can be states are the ones that are base. Because I know also I said that a lot of the conservatives in Canada are more like Bush Republicans, but I guess a lot of the posturing by a lot of the liberals has turned them more base. So the channel, and what I'm thinking about is another thing we also need to think about is the canal, but that should be something else I talk about. Again, this is becoming more of a geopolitics stream than it is actually talking about the Canadian elections. I've got to get that focus, that mindset on that we're talking about the elections in Canada that will decide whether, in my view, Canada remains closer to Washington or to Brussels. Let me actually, so we're going, So the Canadian elections, in my opinion, will decide. And polls right now. So this is, and I've said this a while. This is like the this is like when in America during the 2020 election, the Democrats pulled the old switcheroo. So as soon as the Canadian Liberal Party regained, so this was called a while ago, and this is according to Polymarket. Mark Carney is at 59% likelihood. Pierre Poilievre at 41. Jagmeet Singh, I think that's how you say. I don't. Oh, he's Indian, and he's like a radical. He's a crazy radical. If you've heard him, I don't even know why Justin Trudeau's here. Or he's out. He's gone. He's been knocked out. What Eric Doherty, he thinks that Canada might be doomed. Now, it could be, but the Conservatives, and I'm not sure what, how, because it's a parliamentary system. I'm not too familiar with how a parliament is run compared to the U.S. system. Let me just check. But it's so clearly run differently to the U.S. We have the two parties; they have multi-party systems, and in 2021, technically the Liberals they had lost. Trudeau had lost, but he was able to. His party was able to remain in power through a coalition, is what I'm getting at, remembering from that time. And this is who we're talking about. This Jagmeet Singh.
You mentioned that you want to pass supports for workers. Would you be willing to work with the Carney government
using tariff to justify delaying election?
What I've said is my priority right now is at a time of unprecedented unpredictability and threats to our very sovereignty, that given that seriousness, we need a protection in place for workers. And it's not there right now. Right now, only 40% of workers are covered by the current EI. So for workers that are staring down the barrel of potential job losses in a massive degree, a massive level, they don't have protection. So I want to see those measures put in place. We can make that happen rapidly. We also need an economic plan to create jobs in our own country. We can't predict what's going to happen in the States, but let's have a plan in Canada where we use Canadian products, Canadian workers to build up our country. I want to see that plan passed first, and then an election afterwards.
If it takes more time to get that plan, if it takes more time to get that plan in place, would you be open to cutting a deal with the Carney government to work through to get that plan after March?
Well, yeah, it's going to take time to get that. If that pushes the election back a bit, that's fine. For me, the priority is to get this stuff done first, and then we go to an election. If it takes more time to put in place protections for workers, to put in place an economic plan to create jobs for workers, yeah, I'm prepared to have a bit more time to get that done for workers, and then we go to an election.
Do you have a cutoff for how long you'd wait for an election? Would you wait indefinitely to pass this?
No. This has to be done rapidly because people are right now losing their jobs. So there's a time crunch here. Workers are already losing their jobs just on the threats of tariffs, let alone tariffs are now in place and more to come. So we want to see these protections put in place rapidly. We want to see a plan put in place rapidly to create jobs in Canada, and then we can go to election.
So you're seeing this. You're seeing that they're willing to delay the election in case the Conservatives pick back up steam after this bit of a down spiral. This is where I really wish I had some Canadians on, because they're much more familiar with how it works. And it's funny because a couple years ago, because I was like a consistent watcher of George Galloway streams, and he would talk about the British politics, and I knew who a lot of I guarantee you a lot of people in the U.S. did not know who Keir Starmer was back in 2022. I knew who he was, and I had known also that he would not be a similar change. He'd just be more of the same thing. And unfortunately, it looks like Nigel Farage is not. Reform is literally, there's so much infighting, and that was partially because of Elon. Oh, Elon Musk literally hang on a second. And just my mother was texting me right now. Let me just hang on. All right, so yeah. What was I talking about? I don't even remember what I was talking about. I know I was talking about the elections. Hang on, let me actually go. Oh, the British, how reform in the United Kingdom, there's so much going between Rupert Lowe, Parliament member Rupert Lowe, and Nigel Farage, because Rupert Lowe, he's putting out that that Britain needs mass deportation, looking at what Trump's doing, how the numbers may not be good, but we're at least getting people out. There's no intent to do that among any of the major parties in Britain. And it's a unfortunate thing because you see how bad it's getting. It's so bad, and it's literally, I know this is a joke, but it's literally 1984. It's so bad in Britain with the police. Just have to be thankful that, and look at that. Dark Maggot Dino is actually like that post I put out earlier. So let me act. But we were talking about the Canadians. I could definitely 100% go into stuff on Britain at another point, but unfortunately, that's not the topic. I gotta stay on the topic of today. Let me find it. This is quite the tweet I just saw. He said, this guy Rowan, Donald Trump admits to interfering in Canada's upcoming federal election, claiming the Liberal Party victory is better for him. A vote for the Liberal Party is a vote for...
A conservative until I got involved, because I don't care who wins up there. I frankly probably would do better with the Liberal than the Conservative, if you want to know the truth. But just a little while ago, before I got involved and totally changed the election, which I don't care about, probably it's to our advantage, actually.
Well, I'll disagree with him. I think conservatives would be better than having Mark Carney, because Carney wants Canada closer to Europe, which the European Union, for all they preach about democracy and liberty, they cancel elections. They are pro-bureaucracy. This is what you have to do in America when you hear all these American politicians talking about democracy. Replace democracy with bureaucracy, and it's the truth. Here, actually, let me find it. It was the replace. This is
If the Democrats fail,
this is what they're talking about, and this was from November. This is look, any Western politician and talks through beer. Yeah, I'm having trouble This is what happened when you watch too much D-Day Cobra. You forget words. Yeah, I got do a little bit more writing again. Let me. Darn it, where did it go? I gotta go get back up. My bookmark. Let me get it back up again.
Democrats fail, it might be the end of American bureaucracy.
Our bureaucracy really is in fundamental peril.
The foundations of American bureaucracy under attack.
They want to destroy our bureaucracy.
We are a bureaucracy in danger.
We're watching an election where people are on the ballot openly advocating the end of bureaucracy.
That's what Republicans are doing, attacking bureaucracy, attempting to destroy bureaucracy, and they're doing it with glee.
This is the end of bureaucracy in America.
Which it should be.
When will America stop sleepwalking towards the end of bureaucracy?
Right. It's Democrats versus, as Bill Kristol says, the end of bureaucracy.
We are essentially, as Neil put it, one vote away from sort of the end of bureaucracy as we know it.
I think our bureaucracy and the stability of that bureaucracy is
If the
Yep. All they say. That's all they. When you hear them talk about democracy, all that, that's they really mean. Oh, bureaucracy. And I see Carbo is posting. He responded to Gog, who also, I think, does Gog follow me? Yes, Gog follows me. And Sabatini Stan actually got back to me. He said, other people also work on it, mostly a couple of IRL friends who are better coding and track. All right. Yeah, just also go follow Sabatini Stan. Yeah, guess I'm going to assume the reason why he's had it on is why in past couple, like 40 hours, I've put on my account like because there's so many bots. That's a problem on Twitter. There's the different bots that a lot of them are the adult content variety. The hell? The hell is this shit? Oh my gosh. Some of the stuff, like on my phone, I've got my phone right next to me. Some of the stuff sounds exactly like it sounds like the X notifications. But yeah, maybe I'll do something in the future with Real American and Sabatini. I'm gonna go live for a while longer. But what I've got to do is probably start making more videos. And look, look at that, Real American follow. Hey. Yeah, it's just been me for an hour talking about the election. And if I might do that in the future, do collabs with people like this. Like I've got a big community of followers rebuilding. I've actually rebuilt this account faster than I built my old one, which I'm okay with not going back to that one. I'm okay with using this one. And yes, a lot of people I follow or my followers are also furries. Then I've also got the weebs who follow me, some schizo who's on election tour. I got a very diverse following, and I love them. We love our followers. We've got great followers. Everyone who follows is excellent. Yeah, he's like a couple my hosts like me to the let's see. If there's any other news on the Canadian election. But what this whole thing is with Trudeau resigning and with obviously they have a different system. So instead, now that I think about it, it's kind of like it. But instead of having the deputy prime minister, I guess, take over after the prime minister leaves, they get a new leader for the party, and that becomes the leader. Which is different because obviously with the United States, when the president steps down and the vice president takes over, and this is kind of the switcheroo that the Democrats did in 2024, where Joe Biden had stepped down, and they put Kamala Harris in, thinking that would appeal to Americans. That cackling hyena creature. How the hell is that supposed to appeal to us? Yeah. How the hell is that supposed to fucking appeal to to Americans, and they made Tim Walz, and Tim Walz running in. Think about running in 20. Hey, and Sabatini Stan followed me. Hey, go. Follow. Great. Yep. So that I'm not sure if he's watching out, but whoever is watching, love it, appreciate you. And we've got people posting how Jojo from Jersey, someone, Gunther Eagleman took a screenshot. Let's for retard fire one of the best new accounts in right now. You should go follow Retard Finder. I mean, you probably already follow. Oh, that person. And I'm just trying to see. Yeah, I got quite a big following. Let's see. Yeah, and Missouri Catholic populace, just like that. That's something one you should also follow, and who I might have on in the future. Great guy. Very good Catholic. I've learned a lot actually from a lot of my fellow Catholic followers, because that's why I want to because I'm looking at fully converting to Roman Catholicism in the future. I've got a Catholic dad and a Jewish mom. I've got nothing and Jews. Sorry, not as schizo, but I find myself leaning more towards the Catholic faith. And also looking at trying to get other people close. The evangelization, not the evangelism, that evangelicals, who I have nothing against, but a lot of these more those schizos talk about. I mean, I don't even need to get into that. Keep going off. Let's see. Yeah, Canada really needs and Canada's not going to be the 51st state. Hey, people say Canada has one is it's got a population comparable to California. I think California has a bigger population. Hang on. But a lot of the provinces would be made into states, or they would be broken up into states. So this from Christy Nome. So they peel off the street.
Under President Trump, America's borders are closed to lawbreakers. Follow the law, and you'll find opportunity. Break it, and you'll find consequences.
And the fact is, judges, all these Obama and Biden appointed judges are defending And that brings me to Latin America. So I didn't put this in the title, but something that I've been hearing about recently from Michael Yon. Hold up. Is about talking about is Panama. So I did not see this. So he was on Alex Jones the other day talking about how the U.S. is going to invade Panama for the canal because China and a lot of NGOs occupy. And I know a lot of people were talking about BlackRock, how they open it. Apparently, Trump's been moving more towards trying to take over BlackRock, is what I'm getting at from a lot of what Alex Jones is. And Alex Jones has been right. We talked about the meme. Alex Jones was right again. Let me see. He's got Substack. Not really interested in it. I mean, it's a way to make money if you want. I'm okay with people just looking at my stuff for free. I mean, maybe. So this is what he was talking about. How we need a canal because China still have a big chunk in the canal, and I think China, they've broken from the globalists, like Alex Jones has said, but we should still not befriend them. They're still an authoritarian country. They still do not like us. Doesn't mean we should go to war with them, but we should try to curb their influence because it's not American. And like America was founded on principles of God-given human rights, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. China, you look at them, there's none of that. They violate human rights. Hey, they're not a very favorable country towards Christian, and it's a state. The state is the religion. Obviously, they're not like fully. They don't fully go crazy on persecution, but it's still bad. They probably would do it if they just. I like it. I'm not sure. Do we? This is something I could talk about in future live streams that we do about going after. Yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah, people are talking about Bill Maher at the White House. I think I'm okay with it because I think that Trump should be doing air because Bill Maher does have a relatively, from what I've heard, it's a relatively big show, but but I think that we do need to have a lot of these discussions. And no, we're not trying to make the opposition look reasonable. We're trying to bring them to it because it does not, because a lot of the more radical left will abandon them, and it splits their vote. I mean, people were more mad about Gavin Newsom having Charlie Kirk on than there were conservatives mad that C-SPAN or Charlie Kirk went on Gavin Newsom's show, which I don't like Gavin Newsom. I think he's insane, but I think we do have to have these conversations, and we do have to force these people to who show the reality that they don't actually believe in it. They were just grifting off it just for votes. And it's pretty much going to hurt them. And let me see. So John Rose just put this out, and I feel like John Rose, he was listening. He wrote, if you haven't been paying attention to the half dozen EU elections, the lesson is clear. Multi-party systems all blend into each other and block opposition from power however they can. It's marketed as better than two parties, but ultimately it's just one party. Yeah, that's exactly. About. And I'm actually going to post something yeah, multi-party systems seem good, but they're not. In Canada, because they're like fully British. Well, not fully, but they take a lot of influence because of the way they got independence. They were Dominion and now in Commonwealth. But I think the parliamentary system has so many flaws, and we do talk about a need for more parties. I think that as it is right now, having this system a system that's not bureaucratic and bends to the will of the people. Let's see, is what's more needed, because look at what's going on in Europe. If Canada, if you want that, you're going to get it. If you want to be a bureaucratic hellhole, you're going, if you want to go to the European Union, is what I'm trying to say, which they are not a democracy. That is a bureaucracy. And let me actually post this. Did I post this yet? Let me. So does a free and democratic nation, do they surrender to bureaucrats in another country? Do they a force? Got an itch. Yep. So I just put out this tweet, and I'm going to share it right now. I'm probably going to end it right here. So what I just said was, does Canada really want to join the European Union, who they suspend elections? You look at what happened, look at them talking about banning the AfD in Germany, how they arrested the guy in Romania. They're probably going to pull shenanigans in Poland, unfortunately. I mean, they'd love to get Italy, Slovakia, and Hungary back into the fold. Oh, they must hate Orban. They want to brutalize him. They want to brutalize Viktor Orban, unfortunately. And do you want endless foreign wars where your sons and daughters go to die? Do you want your elections said? Do you want millions of military-age men imported into your country? If you want to go join the European Union, but I do think there are Canadians who do want America, who do want their country safe. You will, and by doing that, you have to get closer to the United States. Because the United States of America we're not perfect, but we are trying to get better. And I think under Trump, we are starting that. It's probably going to be a thing that continues after Trump, and probably with Vance and whoever is after Vance. assuming we get Vance in 28 and 2032, whoever is after that will continue this project. It wasn't really started by Trump. There had been the Tea Party, but it wasn't going anywhere. Trump really saved the populism of the Tea Party and also the Republican Party. He was in the perfect state. I think God really, this is the best argument for God, is that he has funny ways of work. He doesn't send the most perfect people, but I think that Trump was sent to help. And I'm not like one of these MAGA boomers who they want to talk about how Catholics are bad for worshiping and praying to Mary, yet they literally worship Trump like he's an idol. That's something I could definitely get into. I've thought about doing another show with people from my parish, actually, where we talk about because there is with this Christian revival, I see recently it's been people are moving less away from the Protestant nations, more towards Catholicism. And at one point it was also they're moving towards Eastern Orthodoxy. I think now seeing it's more they're moving towards Roman Catholicism. But apparently that's so scary to a lot of these evangelical ears. And I'm not talking about all of them. Not every Protestant or evangelical is bad. Some of them are really good. They preach the gospel. I disagree with their interpretation, which is why I kind of think, which is why sola scriptura is bad, because you create so many interpretations. That's just what I think from just talking with people, is that so many interpretations are great. But generally, I don't have anything against a lot of Protestants. In fact, one of the people on the car spaces, Caleb, is he's member of the Assembly of God, and he's a very good person. Very good person. We don't hate all. We're gonna have our religious disagreements, which is healthy. I think more we can understand each other's positions better and get closer to the day where where the churches of the world can unite. Hey, I think that's gonna be a long time. I'm coming. Let's see. Yeah, just yeah. That's another person. Tester is done, who I just endorse. Go follow him in this. I got out on the first round of Richard Nixon fans his mutual bracket. So I'm just like, not doing it. I'm just gonna get ass wiped each time. All right, and look at that. Retweet. Yeah. Oh, I'm probably gonna end the stream right now. We've been going on for an hour and 16. Like, share, subscribe. I'm gonna try and upload some videos this week. Gonna see if I can upload some videos. Just try and get into that mindset. Like, share, subscribe, share with all of your friends. And let's see. And I will talk to you when I talk. Godspeed.
Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.